Maggie Smith is such a treasure in this show. Okay, get your tea and crumpets ready as we go into Downton Abbey in the 1900s. Directed by Michael Engler, this movie stars Maggie Smith, Michelle Mockery, Matthew Goode, Tuppence Middleton, Sophie McShury, Alan Leach, Hugh Bonneville, Elizabeth McGovern, Brendan Coyle, and a whole bunch of other actors. This is the big movie for the Downton Abbey show. Definitely a movie made for the Downton Abbey fans, as well as it is also made to help newcomers like myself get acquainted with these characters, because I have never watched an episode of this show, but this movie's definitely made me want to watch the show if I knew which station it was on. And I can't find it on HBO, I can't find it on Showtime, I can't find it on Netflix, so I don't know. Once tell me where this show is, I would love to find out. But anyways, let's get into the plot of this movie. The plot is you've got the King and Queen of Britain coming down to Downton Abbey to have their dinner and do a parade. And the main conflict is whether or not the Abbey staff or the main King and Queen staff is going to be serving the royal family. So there's a bit of a conflict between the royal staff versus the Abbey staff. The Abbey staff does a lot of work in order to make sure that everything's in tip-top shape to be ready for the King and Queen when they come by. They get back Hugh Bonneville to run the staff, so everything's up to the TV show's status quo since before he left for a short time, a little while, and now he's come back. And then you have all these subplots going on while the main plot is going on. One of the subplots involves when the maid, Daisy, falling in love with one of the butlers. You have a subplot going on with a couple that may be dealing with a new addition coming into their family. You got a subplot going on between Michelle Mockery and Maggie Smith, or what's going to happen with the ownership of the Abbey. There's a subplot going on with the Queen's personal maid falling in love with one of the characters. There's a gay subplot going on with one of the men. Why not? And I think that's all the subplots going on. It was hard to keep track of everybody's own little subplot. Let's talk about this movie. Now, being somebody that is a newbie to Downton Abbey, I was very intrigued about this show. I really wanted to find out about this show, and I wanted to go see this movie. And even though I never watched an episode of this show, I really liked this movie a lot. Everybody did a fantastic job in this movie. I love Maggie Smith. She is excellent in this movie. Michelle Mockery is great. Sophie McShury as Daisy is really good. I like Brendan Coyle. I like Hugh Bonneville. I like Matthew Goode. Joanne, see if I can get this last name right, Froggatt was very good in the movie. Alan Leach, Elizabeth McGovern. Everybody did an excellent job in this film. It was a really great, the costume design is really good, the production design is great. This movie really does a great job making you feel like you're in the 1900s. I really like how good this was, how good of a timepiece this was. And this is not one of my favorite timepiece movies, like The Favorite, but it is a really good movie. I'm sure if you're a fan of the show, you're gonna love this movie. I liked all of the different subplots that were going on, and the movie had a pretty good pace, but that's when we get into the negatives of this movie, at least for me. So let's talk about the problems with this movie. No, I do like this movie. I do like the cinematography. I do like the cast, the production design, the costume design, and everything. I definitely think this movie will get an Oscar for costume design and maybe production design. Let's talk about the problems with this movie. First off, the length of the film. This movie is pretty long. I think it's about 2 hours and a half, I believe. So that is a pretty long film. I was starting to feel the length of the movie, but I was invested with these characters. As long as I'm invested with these characters, I am never bored. I only get bored when I lose investment with the characters and with the story and the plot. But as long as I'm invested with characters and story and plot, then I'm not bored. And I wasn't really bored with this movie. I was starting to feel the length of this film after halfway through the second act, but I really did like the movie a lot. And everybody really does a great job. I did think there was like maybe a couple too many subplots going on. It was hard to keep track with everybody's little subplot. Especially with the subplot that was going on between Daisy and her love interests. I'm not totally sure if I liked everything that her love interest does in the movie. There's something that he does that kind of shocks me, and I didn't know if I totally liked what he does. I'm not going to spoil what he does when he gets a little bit upset, but I didn't know if I totally liked it, and I thought it was going to create some suspense within the movie, but it really doesn't, so it made me wonder what was the point of having that little moment happen. But overall, I did like this movie a lot, and I definitely think people should check this movie out, especially if you're a fan of the show. You'll love this movie. So I'm going to give this movie a B+. I'm sure if you're somebody that is a fan of this movie, you're probably going to give this movie an A or an A-, or I don't know if you're going to go out as an A+, but this is probably one of your favorite movies of the year if you're a fan of the show. But considering the fact that I'm a newbie, even though I did like all the characters, I did feel the length of the movie, so I don't know if I would want to watch this movie over and over again. I'll think about it, but I definitely did like this movie a lot, so definitely check out Downton Abbey.